So we were talking about Azure boards, right? What is Azure board? So Azure board will play the major role for any project in the Azure DevOps process. See, generally, if you take any project, there will be different people working on it on this silo mode, basically most of the time, right? If you take that. So that's where the Azure boards will help you to manage your project. It's kind of a planning and management tool where you can enter all your requirements. So this will become a central place which is accessible for the entire team who is part of this specific project. So as part of that, we were talking about different processes which are part of this Azure DevOps. Right. So basically, this if you take Azure boards, so you can add work items in the form of user stories, backlog items, tasks, features, and bugs. Right. So how to add those things? There are different processes, right? Which we have discussed last session, like 4 types of processes, right? So if you take, if we start with the basic one, there will be 3 things that one is the basic process. There will be 3 things: epics, issues, tasks, right? Generally, once you are done with the requirement gathering, so everything will get added as a task into the Azure board. Someone has to key in the tasks. So once you enter the tasks in the to-do list or task list, so these specific tasks will get assigned to the individual developers or the testers who is responsible for that specific task. As soon as you assign or you move these specific tasks to here, automatically those things will get assigned to the current user. In case if the specific task has to assign a clear specific user, then you need to explicitly specify. Once you specify this task, you can move from this to in progress to done. So based on the progress what you made, right? So that's how this basic thing will work. How to navigate? The navigation is important here. So if you go to root directory, which is Azure DevOps, once you log in with your ID, you will get to this page. So under the root directory, you have your organizations. So this is the one which we have created. Under this, we have 2 projects. So under the root directory, select this specific organization which you are working, then go to here, the organization settings. Here, you'll find an option called processes. So root directory, organization settings. Under that, you have processes. So here, these are the 4 processes which are integrated in the Azure DevOps Training, right? So if you select this basic, here these are the work items which you can add: epic, issues, tasks, test case, test plan, test filter, right? If you click on that, any work item, let's say epic. Epic will have a specific layout with the predefined fields, right? And this will have a specific states. You can understand these states so that it will be easy for you to see. This is Kanban board is very important to link with the further items like our pipelines, those things, right? There will be a connection between these things. That's why we have to understand the board system. Okay. So if you take within the basic process, take the epic as a work item. There are 3 states majorly. One is to do, one is in progress, and the other one is complete. That's what I was doing here in the document. To do, in progress, done. Right? In progress, done. We'll move those items in the few items. Right? So here, this is the layout for specific to epic. Similarly, you have different fields, different states, right? Based on the process you select. This is in basic process. Whereas if you go to Agile, you will find more, if you see here. There are different work items than your basic process. Normally, what happens if your project is very simple project and not too many members are involved. People generally will go with the basic process so that unnecessary fields will not be there. So your tracking, your understanding will be easy compared to others. So if most of the companies now people will following the agile process. So in this course, we will be talking mostly with the agile process, right? There are other process, but the usage will be very minimal these days. So we'll talk about agile process. So these are the work items which are part of agile process. Bugs, epics, features, issues, tasks, user stories, right? So if we select this specific project, process, if any project is assigned to this specific process, which is agile process, we can see those projects under the projects list in case it is anything assigned to this, right? Right. There are multiple ways to add projects to a specific process. You can go like what I showed yesterday, the last session. So you can create directly a project and select the respective process whichever you want, or come to the organization and under the organization settings into the processes here, click on these dots with the respective process. So I'll talk about them. Here you can add a new project here, right? You can add projects here. Right? Whether you want private or public, you can select that. Here, while adding your project, you can choose the version control system. By default, the Azure DevOps is a team foundation version control tool is there. But these days, most of the companies are following the Git, right? They are using Git, they are migrated to Git. So you can choose whichever the version control tool you want here. Since most of the people will use Git, we will go with the Git option. So we'll talk about that right now. Just one version control tool, we can add it here at the time of project creation. Remember that we'll talk about that, how to use our version control, how to link it here, all those things. And here, generally, you'll select the work item. Why am I getting the agile process by default? Because I have made my agile process as a default one. Let's say if your Scrum is the default one, set as default, then when you even if you create the agile, project under the agile, you'll get here you can select different options. Okay, we'll go with this as a default. The default one. Great. Right, so project has been created under agile process. Right?
Bhaskar, one question here, like the Git directory it is showing, right, the version control. So is it by default it is already assigned or did you map it earlier?
It is part of Solitaire by default. I have not mapped explicitly.
Okay, it is a different.
Yes,
Oh.
that is the reason. That's right. Most of the companies are following Git, right? So by default, they are giving the Git.
Okay. And you did not map anything, but you
No,
already.
no.
Okay, by
I have
default
not
it
done
map.
anything. I have just logged in, doing it as is right now. Whatever we have explained in the class in last sessions. After that, I have not done anything. I
Okay.
have not done any mapping. I have
Okay.
logged in. I have created an account. We have logged in, and we have started using it. Git
Okay.
will be there by default.
Okay, got it.
Right. So therefore, it's a flexibility they are giving since many projects are using it, right? So they can easily convert or migrate to the Azure DevOps. Clear? What are the different processes we have? And see the basic process. This template is flexible for any process and great for teams getting started with Azure DevOps. It's the startup, right? It is minimal thing. Agile is the widely used process, so we'll go with the Agile. And you have, in case if our project is following Scrum process, always you can create a project with Scrum process. If it is CMMI, then you can go with the CMMI process, right? So now, Is it clear how to add, how to create a project, how to create an organization, under that how to create projects? This is a simple thing, is it? Yes. Now, once you create a project, again, you can go to your organization. Here we can see 3 projects, right? Now we have created project 3. Right? So, few more things to remember for a org level. There are fields, right, at organization level. So these are the predefined fields which will be used when you use the other features or when you are creating work items, anything which is coming under this specific projects. If you want how to create new fields under, so we can add always. So assume that these are the predefined process. You want some custom process, right? Yeah, let's say your project is following uh, one of these process. On top of it, we have customized few things. How to do that? Let's say take the Agile is another example. So here, inherit this process, right? Click on this inherit process. Let's say my process, okay? Custom one specific to my specific project. So I have created. So it will inherit all the properties of Agile process, and on top of it, we can modify it, whichever we want. Here, we can add, modify. Right now, there is nothing here, so we can assign projects for this specific uh, process, right? Say Epic. Now see within the Epic, when you see the basic process, the number of states were only 3, right? To do in progress done. Whereas here in the Agile process, the first state is new, then active, then resolved, closed, removed. So we'll talk about this all these things removed. But based on the process selection, your number of fields, your number of states, everything will change. So we can create rules also. We'll talk once you add your work items to the process. We'll talk about that. Select your any one project. See, I have only one member now. Let's say if I want to add multiple people, how to add? Because this is required to add, so that we'll add one. Anyone remember how to add members? We talked about this. I hope you guys have attended my previous sessions, right? Anyone is there who has not attended this call?
Yes, Bhaskar, we can add it through users section.
Right. So where should we go further?
We have to click on 1 minute. I will tell you. We have to click on organization setting.
Right.
Then under general, we have users menu as well. Yeah.
Here you can add.
Yeah, right.
You can add over there. Going with the basic. The user added. The user, let me accept that. So once you add the user, that specific user will get an invitation. Here. Now being invited to a project. So just click on join. Now I got the three projects. Remember, we have added three projects, right? By creating a user, I have selected three projects. Now, if you refresh this, the last access it is never right. Just refresh this. You can see here, Oscar.ap. Last access date has changed from never to current date. Now, there are two parts. How to add a member to administrator list. Org level, right? These are the different groups you have. Project collection administrator, project collection build administrators. There are multiple groups actually. So you can select that specific group and add users. If you want to create a new group, custom group, again you can create it here. These are the users who are part of these projects, right? If you want to add a multiple, so here there are, by default, there will be only one user who is the creator. This is not an actual group. By default, it is a definition. So you can add here. It is displaying already. So since I'm already part of this organization, so yes, now there are two administrators. You can see if the specific user or member of any project, you can add here also. Right? This is how you can add users and assign a specific group. Under the organization settings, go to the users to add the user or send an invitation. Once he is accepted or has joined the organization, then go to the permissions. Then you will get a list of groups here. Select the respective group where you need to add that specific user and add the user under the members. And what permissions he has, you see here. Everything is there.
Okay. Bhaskar, for example, if I added a new user, so I did not set any permissions or role or whatever it is.
Okay.
So what happened in that case?
He will not be having access. It's kind of just a member. That's all.
Okay. I can get the
It's
access.
kind of
Mm.
right. You can just log in with kind of blank page.
Okay. I cannot play with all the actions, right? Because
No,
without
since
setting the.
you can, once you add, now where are we doing all these things? These settings or whatever. The adding all those things under which
Security.
No, under an organization.
Organization. Yeah.
First thing, under the root, we have selected organization. Then under the organization settings, then we are doing all those things.
Okay.
Means first input is the organization. If you have not added a user to this specific organization, then obviously you will not access to this specific organization.
Okay. So just by default, if you want to add any user, he can able to
You need to
access all the
assign.
things.
You can add users
Mm.
until and unless if you give or assign any project,
Okay.
then only he can do anything of it. He can become a member of it.
Okay. And by default, the user role is member. That's what you are saying. But if you don't set the permissions or policies, that's a policies and permissions is the specific role for the in the specific activity on the project. But if you don't set anything, the member can play anything in the project.
He cannot.
He
It is
cannot.
not possible.
Okay. Only he can maybe he can
He can
have
view maybe.
we
Right.
can view read only. Okay.
Read only.
Okay.
Because he is a member, right? He is part of
Yeah.
that project, but not assigned to any specific thing.
Okay. 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 Thank you.
So this is how you can create a project. You will create organization, add projects under that, and add users for that. Any doubts in this until you create project and create users?
My side, I don't have.
Okay. Next, we will try to create few. So this we discussed, right? So generally, I have to go with the basic process. These are the three work items we have: epic, issues, and tasks. So, and that these are the three states: uh, do, doing, and done. And we can add with the agile process. Again, the number of states will change, and the number of work items are more compared to the basic process, right? And in case if you want to create specific or custom processes, you can create a custom process also, like how we have created already. Right now, if you see here, there are two members for this specific project. Right, you can invite again people to join for this project. There is a project and just invite to them to join for this project. This is another option. There are multiple options to do the same tasks here. So whichever is convenient, we can do that. Now let's get into this boards now. Under the boards, you have work items and backlogs. Sprints will be there. I think most of you are aware of what is sprint, right? It is important here because the process is done based on sprints. So to add a work items, there are again multiple ways. Here, this is the default one. Under the project, you have a plus symbol. Irrespective of whichever section you are, this will be remain same. So you can add it from here straightforward. New work item. Since we have selected this project as an agile process, so we are getting all these things. If you have not selected, if you have selected a basic one, you'll get a minimal thing. You won't get feature, you won't get user story, all those things for the basic process. Let's say we'll start with an epic. Right? Just to create a easy application, I'm not descriptive ones. Just we'll go with the epic one. Okay. Right now, it is not assigned to anyone. While creating itself, we are sure that the specific user or some person who is going to work on it, you can assign to that specific person. Since we need one more user, that is the reason I have added here. So just check that. But for now, I am not going to assign anything. Just add. And these are the by default fields or skeleton you will get for the topic. Just say one person. Right? Add one more topic. This is one way of adding. This is another way of adding. Click on that new work item, epic. Here you can add this. again save. Like this, we can add a multiple ways. Now, if you go to boards, you should see two epics, right? Let's add one more new work item, epic. Now let's add for epic. You are going to add a new feature under. Now, right now, I'm not linking between the epic or feature or the user story. First, let us create it. Then I will show you how to link it. What are we creating? We are creating feature as well. Feature say one or epic one. Just to indicate with a meaningful listening, just I'm giving this specific feature one. We are going to link it to the epic one. That's why I'm giving like this. Then add another work item. Okay. Feature one underscore two. Feature two underscore one. This will link it to the epic two feature one. Now we have epics. Now, if you see here, by default, there is one ID is getting added. This is the unique ID irrespective of what type of work item you are adding, whether it is epic, feature, or user story, whatever it is, right? So the ID is, and the display will be based on the order only. So add one more task under the feature. Task one or feature one, epic one. Add one more task. Task two underscore epic one feature two. So we have many work items now. Board. This is we as a backlog. There is nothing here, right? Since we have not linked. So I was talking about sprints, right? Iterations are we can consider with the sprints planning basically. Sprint one, sprint two, iteration one, iteration two, like that. Okay. So these are the different items we have. If you click on any specific one now, let's say pick one. Here, add a link. You'll see that, right? Related to our add link. By using this link, you can link to existing items. Remember these symbols. One indicates parent, another one indicates child. So now what are we doing? The epic is the parent. Now we need to add a child to this parent, epic one. So which is our item we created for one, feature one and epic one. So I'm adding a child feature to epic one. Right? Here, add it. Click OK and save it. Right? Another way of linking child to parent. Right now, what we have done from parent, we have added a child. Now let's say go to boards. Now I want to add a feature one feature one, and again we can link it from now. I am the feature, right? Earlier, what we did, I have selected a epic. From epic, I have added a child. Now, reverse way, other way I'm doing. I have selected a feature. I am linking epic to my feature. Again, add a link, existing item. This is not a child. I'm adding a parent now. So select a parent. These are the different link types you have, right? And going to add a parent, which is epic one. It's simple. Two ways. I'm just showing both the ways, right? Save it. Now to see the boards, that is how you can add. Is it clear how to add a work item and how to link what is it, tasks between the work items like feature? If you take any project, same thing, whatever we have done, I have added here, add a epic to track, then features and user stories. We have not added the user stories, we'll add it. Then work stars, whatever it is, this is how we can add. So what I want to show here is if you see any project, there will be a proper relation to the workflow. First, you need to define a high level what is it, requirement. Then under that, you that will become, assume that that will become your project. Then under that, you have different epics. To take the any e-portal kind of thing. So you have your shopping cart, you have your loyalty membership, you have customer management, you have payments. These are the high level tabs you will find, right? So those are called epics. Within that, you have a number of features again, right? Like you have product catalog, you have price catalog. Under that shopping cart, you can link like this. Price catalog, right? Again, under that features, you will find a user stories basically, right? As a user, I want to view products from a certain category. Under the product catalog, maybe you can add multiple user stories like this, right? So these are the different. As a user, I want to choose and subscribe or whatever based on your epics or features what you have selected. Membership sign up, you will have something. Price catalog, you will have something. You can correlate for your existing projects and start adding the work items here. So that it will help you how much our theory you listen. Once you do the practical things, then only you can remember these things, right? So like this, you can add user stories. For a user story, you can add your tasks, right? So you can take this as an example, or if you have your own project, you can use that and start using those things. Is it clear?
Yes.
Yes, Bhaskar.
Can we get this document?
Yes, yes, we'll share this. Maybe I'll create one G drive one that share on that. Yeah, I'll ask one of them to share the link and add your accounts to this G drive so that you can access all the. I think you will also get the recording sessions in the same drive, or I'll check with that on the sharing part today, and I'll ask them to come. Give me a second. Now, we have added tasks. Now, how to assign them to a user or specific. Now, who am I right now? Let me add a member to this specific project. Shape of a specific project. So earlier, what we have done, we have added administrators and roles at a organization level. Now, what I'm doing, adding a specific user to a project level. Here, we discussed it, but again, and a project level, assume that if you have created a project, but based on the project priority or the requirement, you may enable and disable the services which are required for that specific project, right? So again, to make your life easy, unnecessary things are not required. So you can disable boards. If you don't want remove boards, you can remove it. Don't want to do it right now, since it is agile progress. I'm going with all the options, but there is an option to enable and disable the services for a project level also, right? You can delete this project again. As an administrator, you can do these things. Then teams, you can create teams. Why the teams are important here in a project level? See, if you take single project, there will be n number of teams. If you add all, let's say there will be 200-300 members for a specific project, right? Quite possible, right? More than that or more than that, I mean, number also is fine, possible. So to segregate based on your epic level or your high level requirement based on that, you can create and you can control at a teams level as well, permissions or the display point. So if you want, you can add by default this specific project team is added. Again, you can add members for this. Then permissions at a project level. Again, build administrators, contributors, project administrators, project valid users, readers, and custom groups also you can create and minimize or add more. Let's say you want a kind of mix of contributors plus a builders. So in that case, you need to do a different projects. I mean, different set of permissions. So in that case, you can create a new group and manage that. Another one is notifications. This is also important. If some action has been done, so who and all has to get the notifications. Let's say this is all linked, right? I was talking about in the general first section. Everything is linked here. So the continuous flow, the DevOps process is a continuous flow, right? So to link those things, as soon as some action happened, so those things after to basically to switch between one section to another section. Oh, what I was trying to say. I mean, just to understand, I'm showing this, but not exactly that. Here, let's say source code management. Within that source code management, I see a server. So there should be a proper communication between these, right? There are multiple different teams will be working on these different stages. So to communicate or to notify, as soon as let's say as soon as some source code is taken in, of course, these schedulers will be there schedules will be notified or given signals will be passed to that, then automatically the triggers will happen. But other side, as a user, through email ID or some other way, alias or groups, so you should get notified, right? So that way you can configure the notifications here, and you will be notified as soon as the specific task has been completed, right? Most of the time, you will get a notifications for the pull request as well. They will get they will send a request. Every time you cannot log into this server and monitor, right? So you see the notifications will help you to fetch in whenever you want, like on the monitor, right? These are the a few major things for now to remember. We'll talk about the remaining things in further sessions. The add a new item here. Let's say user story one. Here you can select what am I adding here. This is another way of why am I getting only features and stories? I'm not getting epic here. Generally, for backlogs, epics won't come by default. So for this, you need to enable this, right? How to enable this? Again, there are multiple ways. Go to project settings and enable, or you can go to backlogs and the settings. Here, if you see here, epics is unchecked here. So to select this epics, save it. Now, if you go to the here, you can see epic here. So this is another way of adding your epic feature stories. That's what I was telling. There are multiple ways to add. So based on your current page requirement, you can just add it from there itself. This is one thing. Just add one. You can see here epics. Do you remember what are the epics we have created? 3 epics we have created, right? Epic 1, epic 2, epic 3. For epic 1, we have linked 2 features. Those 2 features are displaying here. To select as a features, you will get only features. These are the 3 features we have added. Forget about this number. That's what I told you. This is the unique ID which will be assigned in the order where we added. And the stories, we have not added any stories. You can add stories, right? So under the feature also, you can add it here. Let's say you want to add a user story for a specific feature, right? Add a user story. This is another way of adding user story. Let's say user story 1 for feature 1 and for epic 1, so that you can easily link those things or add one more user story. User story 2 for feature 1 and epic 1, like that, right? This is another way. I'll show you just to show the Kanban. Just trying to add all these things. User story 2 for feature, sorry, user story 1 for feature 2 and epic 2, right? Like this, you can add a number of user stories. If you click here, so these are the different fields, priority, everything. You can change the priority. Sometimes you may have to change the priority based on your demand, right? So you can change the priority. Right now it is 2. You can change it, right? So automatically the features or the priority order will change. You see here, move this to here. Can you see this? Earlier there was no assignee for this. Now automatically the user has been assigned to this. I don't want this specific feature to be I can change the signing. Specific user has to work on this, then change it. Right? We have this flexibility again. Assume that we put it back here. What is the current state now for this specific feature 2? It is new, right? Move it here. Automatically the state became active. If you put it back again, it will change it back to new. So this dashboard is called Kanban board. So this is very, very useful and so flexible and so easy to use this. Assume that you are done with this. Move to resolve. Automatically has changed. If you think that everything user tested, can close it, the member. But again, once it is in resolved state, that means the developer has finished his work and given it to the QA. It is not tested yet. While testing, they find some issues, then put it back, assign it back to the no, it is not working as expected. Or if it is assigned to some user, that user is not available, or it is deferred for current sprint, put it back to states new. Only one thing will not change is the assignee will not change from active to new when you move it back. So you need to make it unassignee in case if you want. Don't. In case in next sprint some other user is going to use it, then put it back to the unassigned. This is how we can play with this Kanban board. We are there. Select the topic now so that you can see the link. Do you remember two features were linked to an epic one? This is the navigation. Under epic one, you can see those two features which are linked. Clear? How to add and how to assign. Any doubts? I'll repeat it once again. Until now, whatever we have discussed today. So what we have done, we have created a project under an organization. We have added a users. Add project for arc. Add users under settings, right? Then assign project to users. What else we have done? Create custom process, right? Then add epics. Epics we have added, features we have added, tasks we have added, then user stories we have added. Then how to navigate or permissions also we have. Permissions. What else we have? Anything else you learned today? Yeah. Please practice this. I'll ask them to share the document. So tomorrow we will continue from the Kanban board and other features with the Kanban board. Okay. Any doubts? You can ask me. Otherwise, we'll section.
Okay, Bhaskar. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.